Good morning and welcome to the Closers Cafe on a beautiful Monday morning, September 29th. At least it's beautiful here in central PA. And I'm excited for what I have lined up and in store for everyone today. I've got a great couple things that we're going to dig into. I think we'll have a special guest coming back on. It'll be a great follow-up to the session we had last Monday with Hank Purefoy in Atlanta, Georgia area. I want to share a really, really cool strategy that a local agent here in Pennsylvania, I saw her use with one of her listings. I got a really cool email this weekend. And it's an idea that I've done, on some level in the past, but not quite the way she's doing it. And I just wanted to share that because I thought, especially with, the way some of the market conditions are in some of our markets here, that it would be valuable to share and dig into. And then a great question from James Brown on my team as well, regarding dispositioning the leads that we're capturing, the extra leads we're capturing from the website lead capture tool that iList provides. Before I bring Hank on the stage here, and we might spend the first minute or two lamenting what happened Saturday night. But before I bring him on, I just want to summarize some of the work that I've already done this morning. A lot of these sessions, I actually do this work on here, but because I knew that Hank was able to come on and because of the topics that I had lined up, I actually knocked out this work early, which is going through my daily notification summary from Bright MLS, looking at who is looking at listings in their MLS portal and sending some follow-up messages there. There were 2 that I had sent. I also dispositioned new leads that came in over the last 24 hours. That primarily came from the website lead capture that I mentioned. Now, since that time, since my early work, 2 more came in. And as a way of answering James's question later on in the live session, I'll actually disposition them and talk through my thinking and my logic for how I create follow-up specific to where the leads actually came from. So I'm going to dig into that. I've already sent out a couple of follow-up text messages for leads that came in. And then as soon as I'm done with the live, I've got a bunch of leads that I have to call to follow up with. I got some motivated seller leads that came in over the weekend. I have my Monday hit list of the ones that are close to being ready to make something happen. And I just need to stay in front of them and stay in touch with them. So that's the plan for this morning. Hank, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, we're not going to bore everyone with our or whatever, the loss from Saturday night. For those of you who don't know, Penn State lost in double overtime.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough.
Yep, we were watching it. My wife and I were in Chicago watching our oldest son play baseball. So we're laying in the hotel room watching it. And almost as the ball floated out of his hands, I wanted to turn off the television because you could see the ball floating out of his hands. I was like, no! Ball game. Anyway.
Exactly. I thought the same thing. Right.
Yeah, I mean, whatever. It is what it is. It's just football. Mm-hmm. And life marches on. But I was at least bummed for a minute or two. And
right.
Then I just went to bed because it was a long day and I was tired. So for those of you that missed it, Hank was on last Monday. And we did a deep dive on and sort of brainstormed around creating a new construction buyer funnel and the thoughts of how do we attract the leads to the top of the funnel? What are some strategies we can use to move people along or down the funnel or along the pipeline? And then also best practices follow up. My thoughts were a little bit scattered, but thanks to AI, I have an organized action plan that if you want to, if you want to check that out, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop the link to that video I kind of cleaned it up. I edited it and organized it a bit better than the live session. And if you would like to check that out, and if you would like the sort of step-by-step action plan, I'm going to drop the link in the chat. So that link will take you to that session. And then if you want the step-by-step action plan in Google Doc form, please comment on that video. Comment on that video. That way I can go back. For whatever reason, the comments on these live sessions are hard for me to find after the fact. So we kind of laid out that plan last week. And then Hank, let me share my screen here. Hank sent me this email over the weekend, which I thought was a wonderful follow-up and would be a great topic for today, which is, he said, hi, Yoda. Hank calls me his marketing Yoda. Another tough loss for Penn State. Okay, the first thing I want to create is a list of Gwinnett County homes, new construction Gwinnett County homes for 400K and under. When I create that list on the new construction homes website, do I download it as a PDF and then make that the link to a squeeze page / thank you page ? Or do I just create that list as a search alert in Bold Trail and send the link as part of a smart campaign? So that's what we're going to unpack here. And we'll kind of work through. I'll talk through it. And I don't know, Hank, if you want to, there's a couple of ways we could do this. Let me think through. So I could potentially log into your Bold Trail and do it, or you could share your screen and I can talk you through it, or we could just talk theoretically. Which would you prefer?
You're more than welcome to log into my Bold Trail.
All right, let's do this. Could you reply to that email, the email thread we have with your Bold Trail login?
Okay.
And I'll do all of that while I'm not sharing my screen, so we can get all that teed up. And while Hank is doing that, I'm going to talk through what I'm going to then create. So New Home Source Professional is the new construction website that Hank was referring to. It's a free resource. I talked about it last week when we were doing the deep dive on it. It's a great free resource. And we're going to use that more in the conversion process, not on the top of funnel lead capture. And I'll explain and I'll walk through exactly what I'm talking about as we do it. So we're going to utilize the tools directly in Bold Trail primarily, and then we'll use New Home Source Professional as a way to create more conversations and capture more of the low-hanging fruit, the people that are more ready, willing, and able, or closer to, being ready, willing, and able to make an offer and to proceed with, actually buying a new construction home, whether they are looking to trade up, maybe they're in their starter home and they're looking to trade up, or they might be even looking to right size or downsize. Maybe they're in a 2-story home that they've been in for 15, 20, 25 years. And it's time for them to look at a single story new construction home. In either of those scenarios, we're going to use that more in the conversion process point of this. Okay, so let me log in here. And what I'm going to do, we're going to create 2 different ways to capture the leads. And we're gonna build some automation around that. And then we'll talk about, okay, here's the plan for how we can convert even more of these folks once we start building the pipeline out, as we're putting more people into the pipeline each and every week. Okay, I am successfully logged in to Hank's Bold Trail. Whoops, how do I can't do that, can I? Oh, all right, I got to do this to show both. So I'm going to do my best not to show any info that YouTube will deem sensitive details or whatever. All right, so I'm going to go to the lead engine. I'm going to go to the lead engine first. And first and foremost, I'm going to create an IDX squeeze page. An IDX squeeze page. And I talked about this last week. I think the language that Bold Trail uses is confusing and flipped, but whatever. I think of this more as like an IDX landing page. And I think of what they call a landing page, a squeeze page, but it doesn't really matter. Okay. Like the functionality is there. So that's the most important thing. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build the IDX squeeze page, and we're going to build it around the criteria that Hank already gave me, which is Gwinnett County, new construction homes up to 400K. So first and foremost, we're going to start with the location, which is Gwinnett County. And right there it is. So we've got the county. Listing type, I'm going to choose condos, single family, and townhomes. I'm going to go price range, max 400,000. And then I'm going to go options, newly built. And I'm actually going to create 2 different pages, and I'll explain why I'm doing that here. So I'm going to create one page or link that is to capture opportunities, and one that we'll use as the follow-up once we have them captured. And well, I'm going to weave in another thing in a minute here, but for now, let's do this. I'm going to call this, I'm going to call it Gwinnett. So we're going to hashtag this. Let me just make sure I'm spelling it right. Okay. 2 N's, 2 T's. Gwinnett NC for new construction under 400K. So it's called Gwinnett NC under 400K. That's the hashtag that we're going to use, so that everybody that opts in is going to be hashtagged or tagged with that. That way, there's a number of different things that is useful about that. Number one, we can fire off a smart campaign based upon the hashtag. Number two, we can fire off a search alert, an automatic search alert based upon the hashtag. We can go and search at any point our contacts and pull up everybody with that hashtag. So it's important to use with that. And I'm going to call this source. I'm going to call this organic. That way, it's just another way of that you can go and search after the fact. And I'm calling this organic because it's not, if you follow all of the things that I detailed on Monday, we're going to generate leads, not just from Facebook, but from Nextdoor and from Google Business, and maybe even some other platforms as well. But this is from free work that we're doing, stuff that we're investing time but not money into. The property views allowed before registration, I'm going to leave this at the default, which is 2, meaning they can look at 2 properties before they're prompted to register. You could make it so that it is immediate. And that's something that at some point we might want to split test. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as the default. I'm going to generate the link. So now I've got this short link here that when I open it up, it likely won't prompt me because I'm logged in as Hank. But if the general public were to go there, it would likely prompt them. So right away, I see two great opportunities here. Like this one, this single family home looks like a great opportunity for someone looking to downsize. Then we've got townhouses. We've got more single story. We've got more singles here. Here's a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. Even though it's a single story, that could be, a great trade up option. And we've got 63 total results here, which is Gwinnett County new construction under 400K. All right. So now I've got that as a link that I can go and share. And I think I did this. Yeah, I'm certain I did this last Monday. A very simple strategy is I can zoom out here. I can take a screenshot of this grid. Get rid of that. I can take a screenshot of this grid, and then I could post that on Nextdoor, on Facebook, and then share into the groups on Google Business Profile, where that is the image that we're using, the media that we're using. And we tease, for example, we would say, check out all available new construction homes in Gwinnett County under $400,000. Go to, and we'd use this short URL right here, this short URL. Don't use the big, long, ugly one. And we'd put that link there, and then maybe even parentheses. Right now, there are 63 available, ranging in price from $250,900 to $399,990 or something like that. Or I could say instead, because we already are saying that these are up to 400K, alternatively, I might say right now there are 63 available prices starting at $250,990. Now it looks like this one's an anomaly. Oh, see, look, it's prompting me to log in. So that's what the user will get. Okay. So that's and I'm gonna, as we do this, I'm gonna put these links here. IDX squeeze 1. We'll put that there. Now, while I still have the same criteria selected, I'm going to go to the property views allowed before registration, and I'm going to change it to never, and I'm going to regenerate the link, and I'm going to copy, and this is the IDX squeeze for follow-up, meaning that's the link that we're going to put into the follow-up campaign by emails, etc., after they're already in our database, because we don't want to force them to register again if they've already registered, right? It's just like that creates a bad user experience. Okay, so it's just a little simple thing that will create a better experience on the part of the user. Okay, so that's one way we can capture leads using this strategy. It's the IDX squeeze strategy. The other way is we're going to go back to the lead engine and we're going to build a landing page. So I'm going to go to landing page this time, and I'm going to go start building. And this is the other reason why we want to have that link that I created, that second one that I created, is because, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit here so we can see this a little bit more clearly. That second link, where did it go? I have it here. That second link here, I'm going to set as the after URL for once they opt in here. Okay, so I'm going to say I'm going to say new construction homes. No, I'm going to change it again. We'll go check out all available new construction homes in Gwinnett County priced under 400K. And then I'm going to say, enter your email below and tap see the list now for instant access. Okay, and I'm gonna get rid of these bullet points. I think they're kind of irrelevant. Hashtag right here. Okay, so hashtag says hashtag optional. I want to use the exact same hashtag. So we've got two entry points to the funnel, but they're being put in the same bucket. So I think we called this Gwinnett NC under 450K. Pretty sure that was right. And the submit button text, we're going to say see the list now. Okay. And okay, lastly, if you enter your cell phone, I'll text text you my Gwinnett County new construction deal of the week. You can apply stop at any time if you want to stop. So we're giving them a reason why they should put their cell phone in, even though it's listed as optional. The background, and I leave the require phone field off. I leave it as optional because when you require it, you drastically increase the likelihood of them entering, a bogus email. When you leave it optional and you give them a reason to put it in there, it increases the likelihood that when people put it in, it's an actual phone number. And it's also a great indicator that they're more motivated or maybe farther along the process and more likely to engage by text or phone with you, right? So it's like, it's kind of a simple idea, but a relevant and important one nonetheless. Okay, lead type, we're going to choose buyer lead type. We're going to leave the background as is, but you can do all kinds of things with the backgrounds. Like I could do new construction. Actually, I'm going to do the new construction. That's kind of cool. I didn't even know they had that one in there. It's like a GIF. Yeah. So you can change all of that. You can put your own. You can do a custom background. You can use a primary MLS image, but this is great for new construction. We're going to go there. And then I'm going to hit save. You'll get this notice here. And when you hit OK, you can't go back and edit it, which is kind of a pain, but whatever. Like you can create them for free and as many as you want. I'm going to hit OK. And now this link, this is our second way of capturing. So we're going to call this landing page 1. So I'll put that in there as well. So now we have 2 entry points into, or two different ways, 2 different links that we can share, and you could literally just alternate them. You could alternate posting those 2 different ones every day and vary up the text that you're using, which you could just use AI for. Hey, can you take this text and give me 5 different variations of the same text?
Okay.
Vary the 2 links and vary the images. So you might do a grid. You might do the map view, right? So like the map with the points on it. You could do one where it's both of them on the same thing. You could do one where you're highlighting a specific one. Okay, so it's just one of the properties. You could even do where the image is more curated. For example, and I'm getting into the weeds a little bit, but I just want to get gears turning. You could just highlight the ones that have had a price reduction. Okay, so this is all of the ones. These are all of the new construction homes in Gwinnett County that have under 400,000 that have had a recent price reduction. Or you could play up the open house. How many have an open house this weekend? There's lots of different ways that you can spin the same thing, but keep sending them to the same 2 different links to see which one of them performs better for you. Okay. Now, 2 things I want to pivot to. How and where are we using New Home Source Professional? Like, where does that come into the mix? And then we'll actually build out some of the follow-up with that. So here's how a couple of different ways that I use the New Home Source Professional platform. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Number 1 is, and I mentioned this a little bit last Monday, but I'm going to emphasize it again here, is I will go and find, so let's do, we've got Gwinnett County here. Let's do price range up to 400,000. And then home status. Let's do completed and model home. So how many we got here? 93. So here's a very interesting thing right off the bat. Oh no, wait a minute. The price I didn't hit apply filter. I was going to say that seems a little off. Okay. So 14. So if you remember in the IDX squeeze page, there were 63 that showed up in the search results that were Gwinnett County new construction under 400,000. In here, when I do that same search criteria, but I choose completed or model home, I've got 14. How would I use that? Either as a standalone message or as a PS in an email, I would say something like, right now, there are 14 new construction homes in Gwinnett County under 400,000 that are available for a quick move option. Or you can reverse it. Right now, there are 14 quick move new construction homes available in Gwinnett County under 400K. Would you like me to send you the complete list? And then you send them this list, which you could send it as a PDF. That was something you asked, Hank. But what I typically do is it saved? No. Is it? So you can do a report here, but there's also, let me think here, the list. Where did it go? Oh, right here. Okay, this thing. Right here next to save search, this little thing here, I don't even know what you call this thing. There's like 3 dots and 2 lines with it. Apparently, I don't know if this image signifies sharing, I guess. I don't know why. But if you click on that, this is the link to that saved search. And it's branded to you. Once you've created, if you do that work, like if you're logged in as an agent with your agent account and you do that, when you share that, see, it's my info up here, and it's the 14 homes right here.
Okay.
Now, what's another strategy you could use that is similar to this, which you could do this with New Home Source Professional, or you could do it with the search results in Bold Trail. I kind of already hinted at this, but another strategy I use either as a standalone text or email or as a PS in my emails is same idea, but the recently price reduced. So, for example, I'm going to go back to here. To figure that out and to build that out, I would go, I want Gwinnett County. I want condos. I want single family. I want townhouse. I want newly built and reduced. Okay, I want newly built and reduced, and I'm going to choose never because I'm going to use this as a follow-up strategy. So then I'm going to copy this and we'll open it up. Let's see how many according to this. Oh, I didn't do the price. Hold on. Moving too fast for my own britches. Here we go. I'm going to go back here. So now 31. So if you remember, there were 63, 31 of which have been price reduced. So now I could say in a standalone text or email or as a PS in the email, right now there are 31 new construction homes in Gwinnett County under 400K that have had a recent price reduction. These new home builders are very motivated to get the property sold. Would you like me to send you the complete list?
Okay. And
what happens is when you use things like that, when you use strategies like that, little teaser things like that, is if you're doing a good job, that is creating for you the targeted list of the people that are more like they're hotter, right? They're further down the funnel or they're farther along the pipeline, because if they're curious about that and they're asking for that link, like that's an indicator through their behavior that they're more likely to be open to or closer to being ready to look at these homes or make an offer on these homes. Aaron, what is your strategy to make sure the prospect uses you to see the new construction home, i.e. get paid? You've got to demonstrate value, build a relationship and rapport, and keep following up. So there's nothing that can guarantee that, Aaron, period, right? And it's very possible that you would lose some of these people because they go direct to the builder. That's entirely possible. But I know in doing these strategies, you'll get more net even with that, if that makes sense, right? So like if you're the one that are demonstrating, if you're the one, some of the other things that I mentioned last week for Hank as great follow-up tools are, you're the one curating the information about the different communities. You're the one going through and creating, what was some of the other content? It was the community, like all of the communities, but also highlighting specific community reports and so forth. The general consumer doesn't they just associate, if you're the one bringing them the value and explaining them how it all works, they will more naturally work with you versus that. And I know this can vary greatly by market, but at least the builders in my market, the ones that I've worked with most often, they will actually ask the people who you're working with. And I've had the builder reps come to me and said, hey, just so you know, so-and-so came in today and they gave us your name, right? But that's only because they associated me with bringing value to them, right? So I don't know. There's no guarantee. There's no perfect answer to that, Aaron. But I just think, those people that did that, they might have been a pain in the butt anyway to work with, right? And you can only do what you can do. There's no perfect way to put a moat around them, other than just keep on following up and following through and following up and following through. Okay, so that would be a couple of different ways that I use the content in the New Home Source Professional. I highlighted it last week, but I'll highlight it again. Another thing you can do is, if let's clear this part here. So this is all of the homes available. So, that's interesting. So in most cases where I've seen this, New Home Source Professional has more inventory than you'll find in the MLS, but this one is actually the opposite. There's actually less showing. There's only 43 showing here, and we had 63 through the MLS. But that doesn't, I was just curious more than anything. That's not a big deal. The other highlight I wanted to point out was you can get community details here, and that's another great follow-up strategy. So for example, as a standalone email or text or in the PS, I just put together a report with detailed information on all 17 new home communities in Gwinnett County with homes priced under 400K. Would you like me to send you that complete detailed report? Or I just put together a detailed report on Oak Grove Glen, new home community, including the all of the different floor plans, community and neighborhood information, and something else. I don't know. Would you like me to send you the full report? Right. So when you create things like that are of more value, I like to use a two-step approach for that. In other words, instead of just giving it to them, make them ask for it. Two reasons why. Number one, those people are they're farther along, they're more responsive, right? And you want to put more time and energy into those folks. Number two, when you use that strategy, they are way more likely to actually consume the thing, which then they're associating the value that thing provides with you, right? So instead of just blasting it to everyone, hey, here's this cool new report I put together for you, thought you might want to check it out. And you get, you might get a few people to click. That two-step strategy is a great way to get more engagement and to get them, actually consuming the thing. The other really cool thing about that, especially with email, is when they respond to you, your future emails are way more likely to end up in their primary inbox versus the promotions tab or even the spam / junk folder, because that does happen. Okay, it's just the reality. Okay, now I'm going to pivot to some simple follow-up process once we start getting people opting in to either the IDX squeeze page or the landing page. Let me share my screen. Okay, I'm going to go back to Bold Trail. The first one that is super simple and easy, I mean, just dead simple, easy, is, I think it's marketing tab. Yes. So marketing tab, search alerts. Okay. We're going to set up so that everybody that comes in that has the hashtag that we set up is automatically added to a search alert, meaning there will be an email sent to them at whatever frequency we decide with the most current list of whatever we create here. So I'm going to go create alert, hashtag. We're going to choose Gwyneth. And the reason why I have to keep typing this in is because we don't have, there's no leads that have this hashtag yet. Once you get at least one lead that has the hashtag, it'll pre-populate here. It's just that we don't have any yet. So I have to keep typing it in. Okay, search alert title. We're going to call this Gwinnett County.
I think it was under 400.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my bad. Oh, you know what? I might have screwed that up on one place. I might have put the wrong one for the landing page. We'll have to double check that after the session here, just to make sure that if we're using that page that they get the right hashtag. Okay, we're going to leave it be a dynamic subject line. And now we're going to do like the same thing that we did with the IDX squeeze page. We're going to choose the county. We're going to select the options, newly built. The listing type, we want condos, single family, townhouse, and we want price range 400,000. And the only other thing we're going to choose is the frequency. And you can choose ASAP. We're not going to do that. I only use that if I have somebody like that. One is more relevant in like when the market is super hot and crazy and you have a client who has a very specific criteria and there's very few listings that fit that criteria, and you want the email, you want them to get notified as soon as one hits the MLS. So whatever, like it's not really relevant in this application. You could do it daily. I don't like to use that unless I've had a conversation and I know that they are, like I know their motivation, I know their timeline, etc. Like I don't want to bombard people that just opted in and who are at, who I don't know that they're anything other than just kind of curious, right? They're just kind of starting the process. We could choose twice weekly, once weekly, twice a month, or monthly. I typically do twice weekly or once weekly. It's up to you, Hank.
Yeah. Oh, twice weekly. I'm sorry.
Twice weekly. Well, and I was going to say more than that. The other thing to consider is if you are going to send a deal of the week email to these folks, which that you have to do manually. And I am recommending that you or anyone following, along here would absolutely do. It might be a reason to choose once weekly, but I like, my default is usually twice weekly because a couple of reasons. Number one, it makes sure that if nothing else happens, they are definitely they're seeing you in their inbox, pretty regularly. And then number two, it means that if I'm crazy busy and I didn't get my deal of the week email out, they still at least got those two. So I think that's a good default. Okay. the last thing we're going to do, and then I want to, obviously, if you have any questions or if anybody in the comments has more questions, we can dig into that. The last thing I want to do is set up a very simple smart campaign for these folks that will fire off when they first come in, when they first opt in. So I'm going to go back to marketing, and I'm going to go to smart campaigns. And I'm going to choose add campaign. And I'm going to choose hashtag is Gwinnett NC under 400K. Next. It's a buyer lead. Next. We're going to call it Gwinnett County new construction under 400K. And I just put that for the name and the description. And we're going to finish. Now, I've got to find it. Okay, so here it is. And there's nothing in it currently. It's an empty campaign. So the first thing we're going to do, add action. We're going to choose we're going to draft an email. Okay. And I'm going to say your Gwinnett County new construction homes under 400K list is inside. That's a mouthful, but it is what they asked for. It's what, it's what we're talking about here. And so I think it's relevant. As promised, here's the list of all available new construction homes right now in Gwinnett County for under 400K. Tap here to see the full list now. And this is where we're going to use the second one that we created that has no forced registration. That was the one that we chose that was never, meaning never force them to opt in. And so I paste that in and I choose open link in new window. I like for that to open in a new window. And then I'm going to bold tap here. And the reason I use tap here versus click here is the majority of people are reading email on their phone and they tap it to open it versus clicking on a laptop. It's whatever. It's not I could also say go here to see the full list now. It's splitting hairs. Now, can you do me a favor and just let me know that you got this? Thanks, Hank. And Hank, do you have in here? Do you have like oh yeah, you do. Okay.
Actually, that's an old one.
That's an old one. Okay, so let me do this. I'm gonna go, but that's the right cell phone, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go like this. I'm gonna paste here. Hank is now part of our EXP organization.
All right.
So I'm going to go like this and paste that in there. Does that look like, are you okay with that?
That works.
Now I'm going to say PS. Just curious, are you looking to, or let me think how I normally word this. Are you thinking about trading up or right sizing? We might have to play with that PS. There are some other variations that work well, but I like including, I try to always have a PS in my emails that is a question. Because for most people, it's either the first or the last thing they read in emails is the PS. As crazy as that sounds, a lot of people will go and look at the PS first. But if they read it in the natural flow, it's the last thing they're going to read. And it just, in either scenario, it increases the likelihood that they, that they reply, right? And we just want to reply. We're just, we just want them to reply. Here's PS. Actually, I'm going to change it to this. Are you looking for a single family, or are you open to condos / townhomes as well? Well, you tell me, Hank, which of those two do you think would be more appropriate in your experience?
I would think if we're looking for move-up buyers, I think the first PS might be more appropriate if we're really targeting move-up buyers.
Okay, so just curious, are you looking to trade up, or are you thinking about right sizing? So we'll go with that. And now we got to call this, we're going to call this Gwinnett County, NC, under 400K, email 1. We're going to call it that. And this is coming from agent to contact, and we're going to run it immediately. And we're going to add that as a template name and hit save. Okay, so we've got one email that's going out immediately. I like to do this. So I'm going to add action. Did you get it? Looks like you requested our list of new construction homes available in Gwinnett County for under 400K. We emailed that over to you a few hours ago. Did you get it? Let me know. Either way. Thanks, Hank. And there's a strategy. There's a couple things going on here that I'm doing. Okay. Number one, I'm making sure that they got the thing that they asked for legitimately, right? I mean, they wanted something. I want to make sure that they got it, because this is essentially, if this person ends up being a client, this is the first interaction that they have with you. And so if they opt in and they don't get the thing, they immediately think, this guy's just like everybody else. It's a scam. It's spam. It's nonsense. Blah blah blah. Right? That's number one. Number two, there are no links in this email, which means it is. So that first email could land in their spam or junk folder. Because this one is just text, it is more likely to get delivered to their inbox, which means you're then more likely to get a reply. And it might be, and I've gotten these, an angry reply. No, I didn't get it. And they might even whatever. And when that happens, I just say, I am so sorry. For whatever reason, sometimes the email with the list ends up in people's spam or junk folder. I'm going to manually send you the list right now. Could you also do me a huge favor and check to see if that's where it landed?
Okay.
And you immediately take somebody that's like standoffish, and then they realize, oh, they did actually do the thing that they promised to do. It just got lost in whatever. So I'm going to call this Gwinnett County, NC, under 400K, email to, did you get it? Okay, I'm going to say agent contact, and I'm going to run this 2 hours after. Okay, so this is an email that will go out 2 hours after they originally opted in. We'll save that. Now, what if we get their cell phone? Well, let's do that. Looks like you requested, let me think here. Looks like you requested our list of Gwinnett County new construction homes under 400K. We emailed it over to you. Did you get it yet? Thanks, Hank. And we're going to do agent to contact. We're not going to run it immediately because immediately seems like, that seems automated.
Mm-hmm.
And as crazy as it sounds, if we just do it 3 minutes later, it seems less like it's some automated thing. So we're going to say Gwinnett County, NC under 400K, text 1. So now I have a very simple, rudimentary smart campaign. Okay, very simple and easy. And just from a time perspective, I'm probably going to cut that off there. But what you could or can also do is set up a couple more automated texts and emails to capture the low-hanging fruit. In other words, to get the more hyper-responsive people to reply. So what would those look like? When I use that strategy, I will typically send text-only emails that would be, for example, I might send one that asks them if there is a specific school district they want to be in. I don't know how the Gwinnett County school systems are set up, but like in Cumberland County, we have 12 or 13 different school districts, right? So that's a clarifying factor. Or you might ask, is there a specific city within Gwinnett County that you would prefer to be in? You could ask, are you looking for a 3-bedroom or would you prefer a 4-bedroom? So just simple binary type questions whose only goal or intent is to initiate a conversation so that you can learn more about their criteria, so that you can create your follow-up to better match what they're actually looking for, to be more relevant and congruent to what they want, because then they associate you with that. And you demonstrate, even if this is just happening by email or it's just happening by text, when you ask good questions and you clarify what they're looking for, and then you actually deliver that thing, you're demonstrating to them that you care and that you listen and that you're professional and you're service oriented, et cetera. So it's like simple things that can make a big difference. Now, a few other things that I would recommend for every single lead. Actually, before I get into what I would recommend for every single lead, if you want to, this is you, Hank, or anyone, whether you're spending money to drive traffic or you're going to use your time to organically drive traffic, I would highly recommend exploring the website lead capture tool with iList, because you will capture more leads from your efforts. And I have already had a tangible ROI, like money in my bank account, from the tool in using it for less than 60 days. I had a settlement that happened on Friday that I would not have gotten the lead if not for the website lead capture tool. Can I guarantee that that will happen for all of you? Of course not. But like for me, it's already a no-brainer. And that settlement for me paid for the tool for months. That's the way I look at it. Like I'm basically now able to capture even more. So that's number one. And what was the other thing I was going to say? I lost track of my thoughts. Do that. Oh. The other thing is, for every lead, and I'm going to do this in a minute here, actually. So I'm going to do this in a minute here so I can demonstrate for Hank and everybody else. You or someone on your team, a VA, assistant, somebody, should touch, quote unquote, touch every lead. Meaning every single lead that comes in, you need to do something to either change the status, add them to a market report, make sure that the search alert is set, confirm whether or not they own a home already, and append that data. Do something with every lead. And when you do that, a couple of things happen. Number one, you make every lead more valuable in your database. The more information, the more data you have on every contact, the more valuable that contact is, and therefore the more valuable your database is overall. Number two, when you do that work, particularly if you're the one doing it, you create connections that you wouldn't otherwise. In other words, if you've done the work to find out information about the property they currently own, and then tomorrow morning, they respond to one of your automated texts or emails or a manual text and email, and you can immediately be thinking, okay, well, such and such, just curious, will you need to sell that, your current property that's, at this, in this subdivision or at this address first, or are you going to hang on to that as an investment property, right? So like, you're just, it's just more valuable. Aaron says, did you say send 2 deal of the week emails per week? No. 1 deal of the week email. What we set up is the automated search alert that's going out for Hank that's happening twice weekly. So 2 times a week, the system will send an email with the updated list of all Gwinnett County new construction homes under 400K. Hank chose twice a week. I would say either once a week or twice a week is the right answer for that, and you choose. Now, if or when you have a conversation with them to the level or to the degree that means you move them over to your MLS and you set them up on a search portal, I would absolutely recommend you take them off of the automated search alert, right? Because that can then be a little too much, right? And we don't want to be like, and the other thing is when I set people up with their MLS portal, I'm sending those daily. So like they're seeing me in their inbox way more regularly. So make sure that that you take them off of search alerts and automated smart campaign. Now you might still send them, and I would recommend actually you still send them your deal of the week email. But once you've had that level of conversation with them that you know specifically what they're looking for, in other words, even though they opted in for the list under 400K, you have a conversation with them on the phone, by text, through email, or even direct messaging. And you determine, here's what they're actually looking for. They want to be in this specific city. Their budget is really up to 500K, and they only want single family homes. Well, now I set them up in the MLS portal specifically for that criteria. And I go back to Bold Trail and I make sure, okay, I want to pause the smart campaigns. I want to pause or turn off the search alerts, et cetera, because I already know what these people are looking for. And now, they'll start showing up in my daily summary notification, which is one of the things I talk about on these sessions a lot. Aaron asked, is there a reason you use all lowercase in the text? I just think it seems more real. I know it's not proper punctuation or whatever, but like, do you capitalize the first sentence of your messages to your friends? I mean, maybe you do. And if you actually do, you should. I don't. So I don't care. Now, actually, maybe what happens when you talk to text? I guess it does actually capitalize the first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? So Hank, if you want to go check that and edit that, feel free to. For years, I've always done that as a way almost to stand out, that it's very clearly not like automated or, whatever. But maybe it's time to rethink that, because as I'm looking at all of my texts, which, because I'm just an old man now, I guess, I talk to text more often. Like I'll talk and then I'll hit send. It does proper capitalize. So it probably makes sense to swap that over. All right. Here's what I'm going to do now. I am going to log out. Hank, actually, before I do that, is there anything else you can think of that we need to knock out in your bold trail as it relates to this? Before I log, what my plan is next is I'm going to log into my bold trail and do some dispositioning, because I want to highlight how I disposition different leads that the website lead capture tool captures. And also just talk about, generally speaking, disposition every contact that comes in.
Quick question: when someone responds and you're asking clarifying text with city, how many bedrooms and bathrooms, is that something you're sending? Like, do you create a template in bold trail so you can just go click, hit this template and send it to them? Or is that a smart case?
So if they reply, everything that happens for me after that, that's part of that specific conversation until it dies, I am manually asking that, because I want it to be congruent to what they've asked. It's also why I don't feel like there are CRMs now that have AI bots that'll have conversations, and I've tried several of them, and every time they F it up. Because it just hasn't. Now, at some point, it'll get to the point where those are good enough that doesn't screw it up. But you want to acknowledge what they've said and then ask the next logical question. And it's not always the same. Right. So like you can't, it's hard to template that. And at that point, you're having a conversation with a real live human being who wants to buy a home in Gwinnett County. Like, that's what we need more of those so that we can write more contracts and close more deals. So I use automation and templates and proven scripts that work to initiate the conversations. But once that conversation is started, then I feel like it's my job, or a trained person who understands how to ask good questions and continue that conversation until the only logical end is, getting pre-approved or going and looking at houses. I'll give you a very specific example. One of the leads that on Friday I showed had come into my bold trail. Oh yeah, I totally forgot about this. This is a great story. One of the leads that came in on Friday, I showed the lead, or I talked about the lead at least, on the session, but I had not called the lead yet. It had come in late Thursday night. Literally, as soon as the live session was done, I called him. His name is Nathan. We had a wonderful, long conversation. He told me his life story and what he wants to buy and all of that. And it was great. I then set him up in the MLS based upon all of the info he told me what he was looking for. In the conversation, I also uncovered whether or not he was pre-approved. Yesterday morning, early in the morning, he's texting me, hey, we really like this one in Marietta. Oh, great. We should definitely figure out a time to go check it out. By the way, before we do that, we need to knock out the pre-approval process for you, because most sellers don't allow showings unless it's with a pre-approved buyer or somebody that has proof of funds, blah, blah, blah. Like, I gave a reason why. And so then he did his application. I sent him a link to do a mortgage application, and Jared on my team is following up with him to get him pre-approved to that. So there was automation that happened before that, but that is just to initiate the conversation. Then it's our job to use that conversation as an opportunity to make sure, going back to Aaron's question, those conversations are what make sure that when they go and look at an open house at a new construction community site, that they say, oh yeah, I'm talking with Josh, he's been super helpful, whatever, right? Like that level of interaction and conversation is what is what makes that happen. Why do you set up an MLS port certal for properties for client instead of setting them up on a search alert out of Bold Trail? So here's the way I think about it, David, is I use the automated searches specific to what they opted in for. But once they tell me exactly what they're looking for, I move them over to my MLS. Because Bold Trail's search alerts, there's a lot of things that you can select and so forth, but it's not as good as my MLS. In other words, I have lots of conversations with people, and they're like, their search criteria is very unique and sometimes unusual, right? So like, it's just easier to do it there. And also, when I move them over there, I'm thinking of them more as they're a client, whereas my CRM is more, I mark people as clients once they are actually clients, but when they're active, like that's a way for me to understand, okay, they're over here because they're active, they're in the market, etc. Right? So the CRM is until they're like active and I know what we're looking for, and also after we actually close. But that's just my way of thinking about it. And the reason why I do it that way. And I'm not suggesting that's the right way, the best way, whatever. It's just the way that, I choose to manage that process. Any other questions, Hank, before I get into the last thing I wanted to share here?
No, I don't have any other questions. This is, again, really helpful. I really appreciate it. But I'm going to send you an email of some stuff I created with a new construction smart plan I had running.
Okay.
You can see if any of it I could use in conjunction with this, like a new construction buyer's guide, and a video like, don't make these mistakes when looking for new construction, just to see what you think of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
At least several of those to me sound like great 2-step teaser content. Mm-hmm. Meaning you could use those and create, you could add to that smart campaign teasing, hey, I recently put together this new construction home buyer guide. It's 26 pages and chock full of great tips and things to things to avoid or mistakes to avoid when buying a new construction home. Would you like me to send you the full report?
Okay.
You could also, like that stuff, you could also create a landing page, again, landing page meaning like what I typically think of a squeeze page, offering that and using that as another thing that you can post on social. And the language could be the same. I recently put together this guide helping new construction buyers who are interested in blah, blah, blah. You can get a free copy of the guide, just go to, and the link to the URL.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So if I were to be giving you homework for the week, I'm going to recommend that you post at least once per day this week, Facebook, and share into groups, Nextdoor and Google Business Profile. And obviously in hopes of getting results, but for now, just for this week, and I already forgot something that I wanted to make a habit on these closers cafes, which is to post your win and what one thing you're going to execute on, you're going to take action on today. But for the week, I just want you to commit to the action of posting on those 3 platforms, sharing into groups, etc. And then at the end of the week, Saturday, Sunday, or even next Monday, then go back and assess what worked, what didn't, when did I see activity versus not see activity, etc. But just commit to the action of doing those posts And I would also, like today, maybe you post around lunchtime, and tomorrow you post in the morning, and Wednesday you post late afternoon, and Thursday you post in the morning, and Friday you post around, late morning or lunchtime. So like vary when you post, because it's right now we're collecting intel, we're collecting data. What's going to work? What's going to resonate? And when is it resonating? When do I see an outsized amount of activity?
Okay. Sounds good.
Good?
Sounds great.
Good?
Appreciate
All right.
it.
My man. I can't wait to hear. Maybe we're going to have to make this an ongoing Monday morning session just to check in on how Hank's new construction pipeline is growing.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Make it a great week. I'm gonna share a couple other things as well. But I'm going to, let me see here. I'm going to go to this view. And then for some reason, it kept wanting to log me into Hank's KB Core. So I had to go into a new incognito page for this. So when the part that I mentioned about touching every single lead, meaning like interacting with every single lead that comes through, this is what this looks like for me. And I've done this a lot on these sessions, but I want to address what that looks like. And I also want to address something that James had asked over the weekend, which is how do I disposition the leads that we capture with the website lead capture tool, which I've mentioned it a couple of times, but if you want the link to, well, actually, let me do two things. Number one, if you want more information about what this is and how it works, go to the free Skool community, which the link is in the description. The link is in the description. It's a free community. You can join there. Go to Classroom, go to Replays, and the July 30th replay walks you through the tool, how it works, etc. That's number one. Number two, the link to actually get the tool is right here. And you don't need anything, like you can literally just sign up for the tool. And you install, it's a script that you install on any websites that you're using that get traffic, and it will start capturing an additional 15 to 25% of traffic into leads. Meaning if you send 100 visitors and 5 of them opt in, you'll get an extra 10, 15, 20, 25 people in your database, okay? So this is how I will, this is part of my morning, and sometimes I do it on these sessions, sometimes I do it before these sessions, just depending on what we're doing. The first thing I do is I always change new lead to prospect. For me, one of the main reasons why is I then know that this lead was engaged with, that I touched this lead, that I actually did this work on this lead, okay? Number two, where did this lead come from? So this lead came from homes.com on one of my listings, and I'm going to call this lead immediately after we're done. But I can't do that now. In Pennsylvania, I have to get permission to have those calls, and it's just more annoyance than anything. But what I can do, besides calling them, is I can use one of my favorite tools, True People Search. And I just want to make sure, hold on here. Let me just make sure. Okay, good. The view that I have is small enough that I'm not gonna run into problems with sharing this. So go into True People Search. I think it's loading weird because I'm in an incognito mode. Why is it doing that? All right. Let me go back over here. Let me go here. Yeah, I don't know why I was doing that. So I'm going to go email search. Whoops. I thought I had grabbed his email, but I didn't. Okay, so I'm going to grab this person's email. Whoops. Oh my goodness. Josh. What are we doing? There we go. Here we go. Right here. Okay, I'm going to paste that in. Robert Kelly, Aberdeen, Maryland. This is his address. Let's make sure that he's actually the owner of this property. You could use PropStream, which I often do. You can use Remine if you have that, or you could use RPR. And all you're going to do is type in the address, 322 Paradise Road. And according to this, he does not own it, which is interesting because it doesn't say it's absentee owned. Well, we struck out there a little bit. But in a lot of cases, and in particularly, I would say an outsized number of instances, if I'm using new construction as the hook, you'll find that people own a home, because a lot of people, I would say well above 50% of people looking at new construction are either looking to trade up, right, because they're in a starter home and their family has outgrown that home, or they're looking to right size from their, the 2-story home that's got 3,000 square feet into a 1-story home with less maintenance, etc. So, we find that 60, 70, sometimes 80% of the people that come into your pipeline with a new construction offer do own a home. It looks like this is where this fellow lives, but I don't know. It's not matching up. So I'm not going to assume that, where did it go? Here we go. So if I was certain that was his address, I would add that information as primary address, but I'm not, so I'm not going to bother. But what I can do, and what I recommend, is I could add them to a market report based upon, the city that it seems he lives in, which this also is kind of confirming. You get some great intel from Bold Trail. And that's all I'm going to do with this one right now. And then I'm going to call him after our session. This was, I don't know, this was probably a spam or a scam call. This is a lead that was captured with, this was captured with the our lead capture tool. It's very strange because according to this person lives in California. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Sometimes that'll happen. I'm going to go over here and let's see if this is right. Yeah, Westlake Village, California. Oh boy, geez, a $5 million home in Westlake Village. I don't know what that's about, but I'm going to at least make a note here that I hit this one up, and I'm going to send. I have a catch-all email that I send in instances like this where I'm kind of confused. And I just say, "Saw you were checking out our website this morning. Is that right? First name, how can we help?" So it's just kind of like a catch-all email that I will use in instances like that. Okay, where did this one come from? Okay, this one came from our cash offer website, but it looks like the address is an apartment. I'm going to do this again. I'm going to go over here. Let's see what Caroline Dold. Huh. See, that doesn't match up. Interesting. Go back here. Carol Higgs. All right. Well, let's try the phone number. 240-543-9475. 240-543. What was it? 543. 240-543-9475. You used to be able to paste in phone numbers on True People Search, and now they don't let you do that. I don't know if bots were doing it or things like that. All right, this is another one that I'm a kind of confused how this one came through or what the context is. So I'm just going to use my catch-all email, which again is, "So you were checking out our website this morning. Is that right? First name, how can we help?" Right? Just trying to identify like what was the reason? How can we help? Okay, this one came through. No address, no anything. Well, that's weird. I have the information here, but it was being weird. Pop that in here. Huh. Harry Sherrick, 105 Holly Court. Uh-huh. Interesting. So it is Rosanna Sherrick. They did come through. This is the property. This is good intel. Let's see here. See here. Okay. Okay. I'm going to. Okay, so I'm going to go back here. And I'm going to add the primary address. What was that? It was 105 Holly Court. Gooseberry. I'm going to add it to the evaluation tool as well. Cannot read properties of null reading. I don't understand why it's doing this. This lead is, for some reason, there's something up with this lead. So here's what I'm going to do instead. I am going to add the other owner here, Harry. And I'm just going to use email because their phone numbers are on the DNC. I'm going to say seller. I'm going to say new lead. And I'm going to go Josh, add contact. And, oh yeah, prospect, duh. And I'm going to add address. What was that? 105 Holly? 5 Holly Court, Lewisberry. 105 Holly Court, Lewisberry. Save. And one thing I didn't look at here was, where did she come from? What web page did we capture her on? Huh, it doesn't show. I don't know how she ended up in here. That is funky. Well, whatever. You know, I'm going to, in this case, I'm going to send him my iList home value update, which also has offer options. And who knows, maybe he'll reply. All right. One last thing that I wanted to share that I teased at the beginning is a great email I got from another local agent that I thought is an incredible strategy, and one that we may see more agents utilizing, given the fact that, at least in some markets, things are, you know, slowing a little, right? It was a reverse offer. So reverse prospecting is something I do on every one of my listings. And I've talked about it several times on these sessions, and I've demonstrated it as well. So every time I have a new listing, I'll go into my MLS, I'll do the reverse prospecting. I copy all of the agents that have clients that my property criteria fits. I use ChatGPT to put it in a CSV file, and then I upload that data to my cold outreach engine. It's my ProEdge CRM. And then I send a text and an email to them. And so I do that on every one. This was a reverse prospecting email that was making a reverse offer. So let's see here. Where is it? Taisha. Subject line, offer. Thought that was great. It stands out a little bit. And then the typical reverse prospecting message. And it says, hello, opportunity at street address. We're extending a reverse offer of $214,900. Parentheses, currently listed at $219,900. Terms include a $3,000 earnest money deposit, cash, conventional USDA or VA financing. I don't know why she didn't include FHA. Plus, seller will provide home warranty. This creates an excellent opportunity for your clients who have already viewed the property online to move forward at favorable terms. Adjust as needed. Click the link below to view your contact who is interested in the listing. And then it's got who. I have this link would show me which of my clients that I have entered in the MLS, this property fits their criteria. criteria. I thought this was a great strategy. I even said to her, I replied and said, what a great idea, email and idea, Taisha. I don't know if she's gotten any offers. I'm probably going to follow up with her today. Oh, shoot. I wasn't showing my screen. Here's what it looked like. Here's what it looked like. It was just, it looked like a typical reverse prospecting email. She just changed the copy to read as I had outlined it. And I just thought that was great. And that was also like, when you do something like that, I mean, obviously she would have had to have her client's approval to do that, but then actually demonstrate to the clients that you've done that work. Okay, that you want to make sure that they know that you're leaving no stone unturned. You're doing everything you can, possibly do to get them an offer and get the property sold. So I thought that was a wonderful, wonderful strategy. Okay, I have to get to making calls and doing my follow-ups, my hit list. I have appointments this afternoon. I have one at 1. Actually, I have a call with another agent at 12:30. I have a listing appointment at 1. I say listing appointment because it's kind of like a pre-listing appointment. I have a follow-up listing appointment after that. And then, it's a crazy run kids around time. So I need to get to it. That said, can I share the email? David asks. You know what? Here's what I'll do. I'll copy her email. I'll put it in a Google Doc. And I'm going to ask you all to, if you want that, I'm trying to do it in a way. Here's what I would prefer you do if you want a copy of the email. Either text me at 717-571-0456, 717-571-0456, or shoot me a DM on Facebook or Instagram. Only because the comments during these live sessions, I don't know, they like disappear. I don't know what happens to them. And then if you comment on this, I don't want to leave you hanging. So if you're interested in that email, I'll put it in a Google Doc and I'll share with those who are, who want to R&D it, rip off and duplicate it for yourself. Also, I mean, we talked about a lot of different things here, and I love doing these types of strategy sessions with other agents. So if you would like to come on and ask clarifying questions and get help with something, or under a better understanding of how does this work, how do you do this, whatever, either we can have you on one of these live sessions like Hank, or just text me and we can schedule a private Zoom to address your what you need help with, and how I might think about the problem and the solution on your behalf. Tomorrow, back, same time, same place. Wednesday morning, no live Closers Cafe, but we will have our Wednesday mastermind. I have to take my daughter to the orthodontist in the morning, whatever. And then I should be live as well Thursday and Friday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern. Thank you all for spending some time on a Monday morning. I would love, here's what I would love. I meant to start doing this at the beginning of these sessions, but I forget. If I don't write things down, I forget. What I would love for you to comment below is one win from since Friday. What's a win that you had since Friday? And then one thing that you're going to commit to taking action on in the next 24 hours, regardless of the result. In other words, what's the thing that I'm going to do? With Hank, what I actually asked him to commit for the whole week, but for today, it could just be that he's going to post on Nextdoor, on his Facebook page, and share into groups, and on his Google business profile, to either the IDX page that we created or to the landing page, and just that action, not the results. We're not committing to the results because we don't have direct control over the results that we get, but we do have direct control over the action that we take. So what one thing are you going to do today to grow your business? What one thing are you going to do today that will increase your opportunities as far as conversations, contracts, or closings? Speaking of closings, 4 settlements this past Friday. Pretty freaking cool. It's been a while since I've had 4 in a day. So that was pretty cool. And a couple more this week. I don't know if I have any. There might be one next week. A couple the week after that. That's the cooler part. Is it's like it's not once and done. They're stacking up. They're stacking up high and deep. So it's pretty fun and exciting. Thanks, everybody. Let's make it an amazing week. Let me know in the comments one win and one thing I'm going to do today to make progress on my business. And of course, check out Swipe for Leads. I need to figure out how to point that way. It's very confusing. Check out swipe4leads.com.